Hey everybody, thank you for tuning in to In the Pits Paintball Podcast. This episode did run into some technical difficulties with my microphone not recording during the live stream. So those parts that you see my video not quite lining up with my audio, that's why I've dubbed over those parts. They're about the first 8 minutes or so of the episode. Otherwise, thank you so much for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed this episode. In the Pits is partnered with Paintball Kumite. Paintball Kumite is a program designed by Colt Roberts of professional team San Antonio X Factor to take paintball players of all ages, experience levels, and skill groups and mold them into champions. The program breaks the game down into small, easy-to-learn sessions designed to help you master the fundamentals so that you can elevate your game. Newcomers to the program get a free 1-hour introductory class when mentioning In the Pits. To sign up for a class, message at Paintball Kumite on Instagram. In the Pits is partnered with Compete. Compete is a Texas-based brand by Jell Stewart of professional team AC Diesel that provides custom jerseys, pants, headbands, straps, tech shirts, and any other soft goods to help individuals and teams compete at the highest level. Support Texas Paintball and message Compete on Facebook or Instagram and mention In the Pits Podcast for 10% off your entire order. In the Pits is partnered with Get That Shot. Get That Shot provides both photo and video coverage to teams and individuals competing at USXBL. Message GetThat_shot on Facebook or Instagram for more details. Wanting a print of your favorite photo? Go to getthatshot.smugmug.com, select your photo, and use code GDS20OFF at checkout for 20% off of your order. Welcome everyone to episode 8 of In the Pits Paintball Podcast. This podcast is focused on everything that has to do with the paintball scene in Texas, from professional players and teams, to new divisional programs, local tournament series, field owners, Texas-based brands, even photographers and videographers. Every week we will have a short and sweet 30-minute episode with a new topic and special guest. I'm Christian Smith, player for Texas Titans, and this episode we are going in the pits with Joe, and I'm not entirely sure how to say his last name, so we just call him Enzo, owner of Austin Hypnotiq and player for both Hypnotiq and Enjoy Paintball.
It works.
So, Enzo, how are you doing this evening?
Dude, I'm doing great. Thanks for having me. And it's Enzbigilis, but yeah, just call me Enzo. Literally everybody calls me that. Yeah.
Good to hear, man. So, for those listening that maybe don't know so much about you, how long have you been involved in the Texas paintball scene?
Yeah, man. So, I'm gonna pull a little Sasha on you here and go back a few years. Uh, I'll keep it short and sweet though. No, I started like my introduction to paintball back in high school, like most of us, like 2003, 2004, and no, we just played like backyard ball out there. Like really wanted to get into competitive scene. A lot of us were broke, like families didn't come from money or anything like that, so we just played like backyard. We actually used to sneak into like an abandoned water park uh, in Villa Park, Illinois, or Oak Brook Terrace, Illinois. Um, and yeah, we built like a field out there, played out there, kept growing, trying to play more. And like, there was only like 3 or 4 of us that really took it seriously. Entered a couple of amateur tournaments out of like Challenge Park and a couple of the other fields in Illinois. But yeah, kind of played at bachelor parties and stuff over the next 10 years or so. Couldn't really get into it. Couldn't have like I just didn't know where to go with it. But always loved the sport. I was obsessed with it. Had the push video on damn near repeat for like a year in high school. But yeah, fast forward to 2018, end of the year, I moved out here for a job in Austin, Texas. I just by chance, one of the guys on my sales team that I was managing was Cam McCarty, player for AC Diesel at the time. And, I probably annoyed the hell out of him just asking him questions about paintball and all the, you know, typical nerd questions that somebody would ask a pro player. And yeah, he eventually told me to, get out there, put myself out there, play with whoever, just go by yourself, do whatever you got to do. And, I borrowed his GI Stealth, went out there with his gear and just went and played by myself at Austin Paintball and Texas Paintball and, started meeting people. And yeah, Cam was cool enough to come out one time with me, and I met a few people from ATX Kings at Outlaw, and that's where I really kind of dove headfirst into the competitive scene. Playing with the Austin or the ATX Kings, played with them for about a year and a half. Things kind of went crazy in COVID. Things were happening in the management of the team. I don't want to get into the details, but there was some mismanagement of funds and gear packages, and a lot of us were just ready to move on. Um, I work in management. I've always been the guy that runs like fantasy football leagues for friends and stuff like that. So, I kind of I gathered up a couple of the guys that had like the same mindset as me on the Kings, and were just ready for something fresh and a new start. And I saw this as an opportunity really to build something of my own with a good core group of people that were aligned and wanted the same thing. And you know, I I really wanted to preach the message of transparency. Where your money is going. If we're gonna collect money from you, but this is what it's gonna pay for. And like once a month, I'll send out like transparency statements and stuff, or I'm sorry, statements from like our PayPal, and just showing like where our money's at. And uh, yeah, I really want transparency and a program people could trust. And been doing Hypnotiq since I think October 2020 was our announcement of the program coming out.
Cool, man. That's really cool how you got that connection with Cam McCarty.
Yeah,
I was always wondering how you and Cam connected together, but it's cool to hear the story of how that actually happened.
yeah, no, awesome dude. One of my best friends out here. I'll give a little bit more of a history lesson and like kind of how I developed as a player, and really I think took the next step. And it's mainly because of Cam and for those familiar, the VCK guys. During COVID, everybody's locked down, couldn't really go out and do anything. So I played paintball on the weekends, and then like every weeknight we'd go and play digital paintball, which for those familiar, it's a Half-Life mod available on Steam that looks like complete shit, but it's fun. It plays well enough to get the mechanics of the game. And really those guys took me under their wing. Awesome, some of the best people I've ever met. And that's Nico, Devin, other guys like you might not know him, but like Beefy, K Lamb, uh, Jameson Widener, Lucas Brown, like just amazing dudes that brought me under the wing. And you know, kind of made me a VCK honorary member, even though I've never actually played with them. But yeah, so
It's awesome, man. It's really cool to hear that you really got in with all those guys. So you talked about, Hypnotiq and the ATX Kings. Did you have any of the teams that you've played for over the years?
um, no, outside of my like two amateur tournaments in Illinois, like we just had to throw together teams, and we got absolutely smoked playing with Frankenstein like autocockers in the speedball tournament. So, but no, those are the two teams I've played for. So,
Sitting here afterwards, dubbing through everything, for context of what Enzo was talking about and what he's about to say, the Texas Titans jerseys are Modelo inspired. We have a black and a white jersey that are basically the Modelo design, but with Texas Titans on them. So that's what he's referring to here.
yeah, do your thing, man. Well, while Christian can't defend himself, I will talk some shit about the Titans that they messed up by not having Modelo sponsor them, and that Denver team beat them to it. It's a shame.
And unfortunately, I do agree. It is a little bit of a shame, but hopefully there's something in the future. Hopefully the door's not closed on that just yet.
Did you hear what I said? All right, cool. You'll catch it on the playback later.
Thanks for sitting through that. From here on out is my original audio. Enjoy the rest of the show. There we go. That should work. Can y'all hear me now? I think they can hear me now. Okay, so just in case it didn't record on the local recording, question that Enzo just answered was just about uh, how long he's been involved in the Texas paintball scene, and if he's played for any other teams locally, or just throughout his career. So you've told us a lot about kind of the origin of Austin Hypnotiq, and y'all kind of have like a really unique logo. What inspired that logo?
Yeah, so the name, people are always like, "Oh, are you guys based off of that shitty green liqueur or whatever?" And no, spelling similar, but like, the origin of Hypnotiq and the logo, it's pretty nerdy. Like me and my buddies in high school, same ones I played paintball with and got that going. We got really into competitive Halo 2. This was 2004 when that came out, and we we played tournaments on a website called GameBattles.net, and we just were messing around with like the little logo creator in Halo 2 and playing around with colors, and we're like, oh yeah, like the swirl's cool. Like what's kind of like trippy and psychic, and we're like, oh, let's make it like Mewtwo, the Pokemon's color, and do the little swirl thing, and we called it Hypnotiq and spelled it a little funky, and yeah, played competitive Halo 2 for a while under that name. So it's kind of like a name that was like kind of stuck with me, and the color scheme kind of stuck with me. Just fond memories, and those are my boys. They always will be, and yeah. So and we were kind of branching off from the Kings and starting to talk about team names and stuff. Like put out a list of like 5-10 names, and everybody was like, "Oh, Hypnotiq, that one, it's kind of cool. Let's it's different. Let's grab that," and kind of rolled with it. So.
Yeah, I know I kind of told you this one of the practices. I still think that if y'all did like kind of a team chant, if you did like the dynasty thing, except with Hypnotiq, you just have HYPNOTI and then everyone yells Q. I think that would be like the best thing ever.
I thought about that, but like I can't spell the fucking name. Excuse me, I don't know if I can swear, so I can't spell the name on the fly.
Hey, come on,
we've
man.
stuck with some more simple ones.
If you can
So
spell your last name, you can spell Hypnotiq.
that's a fair point. I can't argue that.
So, you guys, Austin Hypnotiq, you're consistently performing to a playoff caliber. You guys are usually found in the quarterfinals. At the third USXBL, y'all got third place in D5, and you got a third place in the Premier Division. So, what do you attribute that success to?
Well, D5, those guys, they're just good group of guys, like hardworking. They want to win. Um, they're they've got a couple of tweaks they just need to make, but I think they're right there. It's really this is something Nico preaches to us is just keeping the mindset and keeping the momentum, and uh, I think those guys just need to harness that mentality and keep it running, and not change what they're doing. You want to adapt and adjust, but not change their overall uh, momentum, I guess. But D3, same thing. Like you know, elephant in the room, like we had a rough start in D3. We're a bunch of players that hadn't really played together, and well, some of us, the core group, was from Hypnotiq that came from the Kings and kind of growing up. But we brought in new people. It's been hard for us to adjust for the new people to work together, and it took longer than expected. But we're, I think we're starting to find our groove and find really who works where, and yeah. It's just it took a little longer to get going than expected, but I think we're getting there. So D4, we've had some struggles. We lost some players through this year, and we've had to kind of fill some holes. And that's those outside distractions and stresses of filling really two D4 lines. They're pretty ambitious going into this year, but I think despite the distractions and stuff, we're 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 playing some of our best ball, and I don't think that the quarter or the Ochos and quarterfinals that we've been finishing really reflect that. We keep facing teams like Greed and and they're obviously one of the best teams in Texas, and we had hell of a match last USXBL. I mean, shit, like I got a damn concussion from putting it all on the field last event, running straight into one of the Avarice players. Um, but yeah, had black eye and everything. Couldn't
Jeez.
think straight for a week, but I'm good now.
Man, I had no idea you got a concussion. That's insane. But yeah, I will say I am very like a little curious as to y'all's like consistent quarterfinal exits in these tournaments because coming off of the uh, championship first place last year, with the last USXBL event of the year, I will say that y'all have definitely been consistently getting better, but what do you think it is like the next steps are to get you over that hump, past all of those quarterfinals exits and into some top four finishes?
Yeah, I mean, I think about this like 24/7, and really it comes down to, and I'm constantly picking Nico's brain, and he's been amazing being part of this program and having that resource and other resources, Cam and Lucas and Jameson, through my good buddies from the VCK era that have seen this higher level of paintball and have been through it, and you know, it's it really comes down to one, limiting the outside distractions, the filling out a roster, collecting money, doing all that stuff, having plans at the beginning of the year that kind of start getting shaky and not working out necessarily, and having to adjust, and that it's, and once you get to, you know athletes like to, Nico always tells us about a book, and I haven't read it yet, but I promised him I would, of a competitive biking team that on their bus they have same pillows every time, same water, same everything on there, just to limit any sort of inconsistencies, to keep any sort of distractions out of their mindset and let them focus on what's in front of them. And I think that is what kind of affects me out there, and having different players play down from D3, pulling up guys from D5, when we were used to last year where we had just our core guys, same guys going out there every single time. And it's been an adjustment. And yeah, it's, once you get to that level, especially playing some of these better teams, you guys, Titans, or not Titans, Greed or Avarice Tribe, like, one little mistake, like one person pulls off the lane for a half a second, one person turns their head away, or does anything, like that mistake can blow up the whole game. And I think it's just keeping everybody focused on their jobs and disciplined on that, and the trust. And yeah, we kind of went, I don't want to say we went backwards a little bit in that aspect, but teams are out there working hard, like we're out there working hard, but it's been a pretty competitive year this year. And I think we've had some matches where we played better than we did in the finals last year, and we didn't come out ahead. So I don't know. It's yeah, it's kind of it's the way the game goes sometimes. But we're there, we're out there grinding, and we're ready for the next one always. So
Yeah, I've noticed that this year Texas is really deep. Um,
yeah,
but you are seeing some teams kind of consistently in those top spots. Like even Titans, things have we started out strong and we've hit some road bumps along the way. Like you talked about those plans that you had at the start of the year where things aren't necessarily going to plan, and you know even the best laid plans, like yeah, you can plan all you want until someone hits you in the mouth and then that plan goes out the window.
yeah, exactly.
But I I really commend y'all for being able to continue to push through that, being able to still consistently put those three lines in at events, still consistently having those those playoff finishes for I think it's your black line that that's usually finishing in the quarterfinals, and then the last two USXBLs now for your Enjoy Paintball Premier line have podiumed. So I and
Yeah.
Granted,
So
the Yammerhammers and Greed are very tough teams to beat, but y'all, I think y'all beat Greed at the last event, right, in prelims?
in prelims, yeah, we did. I think they ended up winning that event. I don't know, but either way, the games are all. I don't think there was a really big blowout game except for Yammerhammers, maybe. I don't know, I'd have to go back and look at the scores. I don't try to dwell on that stuff. Just always looking on the next event, ready to go. And a couple of things we actually have 4 lines, which is a lot to manage because we've got the two D4s, the D5, and the D3, and then it's usually purple. Purple's the higher line that not the higher line, but the line that's been playing together longer and has a bit more experience. That's making the finals, and ultimately with those, that's the line that we've kind of lost some people that only want to play D3 with. So yeah, and lost people just to jobs and life outside of paintball and whatnot. So
Yeah, gotcha. But I think that one thing that you guys have definitely got going for you, and um, I think will eventually help you get over that hump, is just consistently having Nico Hyde in your corner. He's been consistently the coach for Hypnotiq for the last 2 years now, and he formed Enjoy with, the kind of handpicked members from pretty much just Hypnotiq. So, how important has having Nico Hyde been in starting and growing your program?
starting it, he wasn't involved until um I guess he was there pretty much at the beginning of it. We had the actual people coming in. We already ran our first tryouts. We had another coach lined up that kind of fell through, and I played Nico on Digital Paintball and met him once through just like a VCK street ball day that they had, and he's a good dude. It's funny the lessons you learn in paintball. Like sometimes you just get your ass chewed out, and you just remember like, okay, never doing that again. There's one time Nico, when I first time I played with him on digital paintball, where I stopped containing something and looked inside, whatever it was, and he lit me up in the chat, like didn't know me and stuff. I was like, oh my god, all right, I won't do that again. But no, outside of Nico, that first impression of Nico yelling at me over Discord, um, he's been amazing to have as part of this program, and he's really gelled with it and what my vision is with the program, and I think that's because of how he came up with VCK and AC, where it's just kind of like a farm program that wants to keep growing. And, you know, at the beginning of this year and towards the end of last year, there was, Nico and I and a couple of their managers on our team were just constantly talking about like, all right, what's the next steps? We want to keep pushing ourselves and we want to take it to the next level. And, um, we wanted to do a D3 line, and it's, I wanted Nico to have more ownership in it, to be, to make it more of his thing too. And, of course I want to promote Enjoy Paintball. Like that's why he was my first message when I started picking out sponsors, was Enjoy Paintball. Like I love the mentality of the brand and what it stands for. And, he really lives by that. And that showed with how he's helped our team and how he's become part of it and a leader in the team. So not only a coach, but like a true leader of the team. So it's been awesome having him. In fact, he's out doing a practice right now with our D5 and our D4 black line. So yeah.
There we go. So yeah, I don't know what's going on with my microphone this time, but um, yeah, we were just saying how having one coach that's been familiar with you for multiple, not just multiple events, but now multiple seasons, it gives you a significant edge over someone who's gone out and hired just like a local pro player just to call plays for you. He may not necessarily know who's playing well or who plays well together, those relationships. Um, and you're not having to figure it out in, you know, during those prelims where maybe you just like throw out a bad combo of players and then suddenly, every point counts and your point spread is not nearly as good as it could be.
Yeah, yeah, and really, like that's. I mean, you nailed it. Like any idiot can go out there and pick plays off a off a piece of paper and say, hey, go do this. But like having somebody kind of ingrained in the actual like fabric of your program and understand each player and their mentality and their strengths and weaknesses, and like you really just learn to trust them and not second guess a word they say, and that helps once again eliminate distractions, especially in the flow of a tournament. And it's nice to have him there not only as a coach but just as a just once again as a leader, like out there, like we trust him, like just take us as far as you can in the event. So
Yeah, and we Titans are starting to get something like that with Colt Roberts. Just being able to work with him through his Kumite program, and we had him coaching us at the last event, so we already had those relationships built up, and that definitely went a long way. Like we had a point where the play call, first point of our match against Dirty Mike and the Boys in prelims, and
great name, by the way.
yeah, um, the play call was to send Ryan, just have him just run through, literally off the break, just run through, and the plan was to trade out with their center player if he was there. And Colt
Is
said,
this the one that kind of made the rounds on Instagram
not this one.
where he
No.
went all the way up? Oh, okay, no man.
No, this one I don't know if it got caught on camera, but Ryan was kind of like unsure about it at first, but he just trusted Colt, and the guy ended up not being at the center, but Ryan just ran through, and no one was looking at him, and he got a 5-pack by running through the center off the break in the first point in a match.
Oh yeah, that's a video I'm thinking of. Yeah, that was awesome.
Yeah, so like,
Yeah.
that kind of play call, like being able to trust someone like that and having that expertise where it's like, oh, I see that this is possible. Like that is huge to have. So another thing that I like about Hypnotiq is how friendly you guys are to newer players, not just inviting the walk-ons and new people coming back to the game just to practice with you guys at Outlaw, but also consistently developing new D5 players. So is this something that's kind of important to the mission statement, I guess, of your program?
Yeah, exactly. Took the words out of my mouth with the mission statement. That was there was a few things we were or I brought to the table when I kind of pitched the whole idea of a new program to the guys from the Kings was, you know, transparency with money and really bringing up players and treating other players with respect. We've got a couple of guys that like to chirp and shit, whatever, but like that's paintball. But for the core idea of Hypnotiq is, I mean, it's enjoy paintball. Like that's why Nico is my first message: is enjoy the game, enjoy the grind, enjoy the growth, enjoy the competitive aspect of it. And I there's a lot of things that happen out on the field that go a long way for me, and I want other players to experience that. Um, and that's getting the recognition from better players at the field that like two of the guys that really stood out for me at Outlaw were Paul from FSU and British. Like those guys are ballers. Like they're really good players, and to have them come up to me at certain points saying, "Hey, man, you're doing a lot better. Like you're looking way better." Like so, like that goes a long way to me. And when I recognize players outside of my team, outside of my program, I make sure to go up there and tell them, like, "Hey, like I notice you. Like you're stepping it up. Like you gave me a run for my money on that last point. Like keep it up. Like that's awesome." Because I know that went a long way for me, and that instilled a lot of confidence. And that's kind of what I built the program around. And yeah, and plus, like, dude, you never know who's going to be good. Like, like some of these kids might be awesome. Like we have a kid Connor on our team that we pulled up when he was 17, and you have these 17, 16-year-olds that are like blowing up your Instagram asking to join. Some of them you're like, all right, dude, you're a little much here. Like, I don't know if you really understand this, but some of them, like Connor, like stepped it up. Super mature kid. He's one of our fastest growing players. And yeah, so that's why just you never know how well people are going to be, so might as well treat them well, and that hopefully play with you.
Shout out to Connor. Fun story about Connor was I actually kind of hooked him up with Enzo and Hypnotiq. Um, the story about Connor was back when I, probably like 4 years ago now, I was student teaching up at Westwood High School in Round Rock, and the teacher that I was working with, her neighbor's kid was looking to get into paintball, and so she knew that I played paintball. She talked to me. I was like, "Hey, hit up these guys." And back then it was probably still like kind of the last year of ATX Kings, but ATX Kings and even the Hypnotic guys now, they've always had like that friendliness towards walk-ons, towards newer players, and I think the relationship has worked out really great. Um, so yeah, and
Sure. Connor's awesome. Thank you for sending him our way. His
yeah,
parents
for
are
sure.
awesome, extremely supportive, amazing people. Always helping us in the pits and wherever they can. Connor's dad, Scott, shout out to him. He's always sending me drone footage or some shit of our practice. I don't know, but yeah, he's awesome.
Yeah, shout out to the Sanders family for sure. I'm sure Connor's over at practice with Nico right now working hard, but shout out to y'all.
I hope he is. He should be.
hmm uh, so who, you talked about Connor. Who are some of the other guys that have come up through the ranks kind of with this mentality?
um, we have some standout players. A lot of guys that have learned a lot, and I don't. So the thing I liked about Hypnotiq and the mentality we brought in is like we wanted to leave a lot of the ego off the field. Like there is no, oh, this guy's our superstar snake player. Like just let him go do everything. No, we're a team. We're a fucking team. We play like a team, and that's it. Like check your egos at the door. I don't want that shit. We're gonna grow as a team. We're gonna play as a team, and yeah. So if I want to highlight anybody, it's really the the enjoy line for getting our shit together, because I play on that line too, and us just figuring that out as a becoming team or become more of a team together, and then the D5 line, guys that are playing together that are our goal for them this year was to podium, and they got third place at the last USXPL. So now we're pushing that goal line a little further for them at the next event.
It's awesome. So real quick, hello to everybody in the chat. Thank you so much for letting me know about the microphone issues that we've been having this episode. Um, at the end of the episode, we will have time for some questions from the chat. So if you have something you want to ask Enzo, go ahead and get your questions in the chat now. We're going to keep on going. So you talked a little bit about having British, having Paul, having those FSU guys to practice against in Austin at Outlaw Paintball. So you guys, FSU, Austin Notorious, and STK make up the higher division scene over at Outlaw in Austin. So has having all those experienced players to consistently practice against help y'all's development and growth of your players?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, if you go into playing against anybody with the right mentality, you'll learn something about yourself and your team. Playing against the same guys all the time can get a bit repetitive, so you have to make the most of it where you can. But like that was another reason why I wanted just such an expansive program. So, the it kind of hurts the higher tier players, but the lower tier players get to play against better guys whenever they want. Like every practice, they get to our D5 gets to play against our D3 guys. So I think that's where most of our growth has come from, and that's not a discredit to Notorious, STK, Evo, whatever other teams are coming and going out of Outlaw. But everybody kind of just does their own things there. Um, but yeah, so I think our growth internally has helped the teams a ton, especially because you get a lot more feedback then. If I go dunk on one of my D5 guys or something, like I'll go pull them off field and break down the play, what happened, or whatever, and just tell them how they can improve. And you don't get that kind of feedback playing against randoms. But as far as like our higher tier players, um, I like the scrims we do with y'all. So I think we get a lot out of that.
Yeah, y'all have come to scrimmage us 2 or 3 times now, just over the last 2 years. Love when y'all come down.
Yeah,
Hopefully we can
likewise, man.
set another one up for the championships. That'd be awesome. Uh,
Absolutely.
so, uh, you've kind of gone through being the leader of the program for 2 years now. So, uh, what are 1 or 2 mistakes that you notice like newer programs make? Like if you were to give 1 or 2 pieces of advice to anyone trying to start their own program, what would it be?
Manage your money. Those spreadsheets are your best friend. Be transparent with everything. Don't just say, "Hey, we're going to collect this money because you're on the team." Tell them why. Like, "Hey, we're going to collect this money so it can pay for X, Y, and Z. It can pay for coaching. It can pay for pods. It can pay for like, hey, we're going to buy stickers and try and market ourselves a little bit, like things like that." Be transparent. Be transparent about your money, your plans, your intentions, things like that, and then treat people with respect and like identify the players that aren't doing that early on and either nip it in the bud or get them out. I've guested on other teams and played in other scenarios where you've got guys saying like, "Oh, if you don't do this, I'm gonna fucking shoot you myself," when they're on your team. It's like, dude, what? Calm down, dude. Like, let's work together and figure this out. Like, that's not the mindset I want to go for, at least for my program. And I think it's helped us a ton, just developing that culture and identifying just the identity and culture you want to have in your program.
Yeah, a lot of people don't realize just how much the business side of paintball plays a role in it. Money's super important. Just being
Super
upfront.
stressful too.
Oh yeah. Oh yes.
But that's kind of what I volunteered for. So
Yeah, and have getting those players with the right mindset, and some guys may not have that right mindset, and may take getting cut from a team or two before they learn those lessons. So
another thing I would like to add on that too is have patience with people. Like you don't always know what people are going through outside of paintball. What they've got going on at home, what they've got going on with their job, and like it's better to like instead of just sit there like saying, "Hey, like give me money, I need this." Like talk to them, figure out what's going on, and like maybe you can help them out you know if we've got the team funds kind of float, or if you can whatever it may be, like you can help them out. So just have patience and just talk to people.
oh yeah, and I'm definitely not saying like it's a no flexibility in there at all, but yeah, it's like just sometimes some guys are in better or worse positions, and if they need to step back for a little bit and being flexible with them, they can always come back at a different time or a later point. And yeah, just making sure that that doesn't, I guess, get in the way too much of the goal of the program. So we got one question from the chat from Lucas, from one of your players on Enjoy. He asks, "What do you have an end goal with Enjoy and Hypnotiq, or what are some of your goals for Enjoy and Hypnotiq?"
Yeah, I think about this all the time. I want to push it. Like I'll be 35 in 2 months. The biological clock's ticking on how far I can go and how long I can play for. I take my health relatively serious. I do yoga, workout. All my workouts are paintball focused and minded. So personally, goals are, I'd like to win a tournament at a higher division, which I define as like D2 or above. Um, that's the short-term goal. Ideally, like I'd like to place in a D1 or semi-pro tournament, but we'll you know Nico kind of preaches us to set your short-term goal and your BHAG goal, your big hairy ass goal. So that's my BHAG there with me and ultimately the program to place higher at a D2 or D1 event. So
Those are some good goals, man. Uh,
yeah.
Hopefully we can
And
see y'all
big
do it.
goal for the program too would be podiums across the board. Like the 2 D4 lines, I would fucking cry if we got to play each other in the finals. But that's we got some work to do there.
Yeah, that's the best feeling. Like I think Tribe actually had that at the second USXPL. They played each other in the finals. Definitely a high, or no, they either in the finals or in the semifinals. But I know they both podiumed. Um,
I think it was the semifinals,
okay.
but either way, that's still awesome. And kudos to their program. They've gone up fast. So
Yeah, shout out to Tribe. They're currently in first place with USXBL, and they've won one or two NXLs this year as well. So good on them. Um, they were on episode 2 or 3, so go back and check out their episode. So we're getting toward the end of our show. What's any Texas-based either team, player, brand, or project that have caught your attention? So this is the question I kind of ask everybody towards the end. So who is someone or something that the rest of Texas needs to know about if they don't know already?
yeah, for sure. His name pops up a lot, but Carlos, get that shot. He's doing awesome stuff. I'd say verbal, but everybody knows him already. He's made a name for himself for sure. But get that shot's next in line. He's doing cool stuff, and the player interaction's amazing. He's always giving us shout outs. He's always hyping us up, and talking to me on the side. So that stuff goes a long way. Um, you look at other programs. I like what you guys are doing. I think we're I think we have pretty similar mindsets and how to grow our program, and that's why I like when we scrim each other because it's always just a really good battle out there. Um, I listened to your event with Niles from Cyclones, and that was really inspiring on how to manage your sponsors and how to always give them more than they give you. And that's been on my mind a lot lately, and will be on my mind going into 2023 season and how we handle our partnerships with people. So yeah, kudos to him and what he's done with that program. That's amazing. Um, but yeah, then just shout out to the VCK guys. Like those are my dudes. They helped me a ton, and there are a lot of them are floating around Texas. So
Yeah, shout out to VCK, shout out to Niles. I think Niles' episode was probably the most informative for me, uh, as someone who kind of helps every now and then manage some things on the Titans. It's all Dylan show. I kind of help out here and there, but Niles, his insight definitely has. We've been thinking a lot about it lately. Hopefully, we can start, you know, making changes to how we do things. Like I know I've started making changes to how I do in the pits, and it's started out with just one sponsor. Now we have 4, and the way started posting ads on my show often, and I'm wearing their stuff. Like shout out to Get That Shot for sending me this T-shirt. You can go order stuff from his store. Just recently hit 1,000 subs on YouTube as well. So congrats, Carlos. Everybody go check him out. Go check out his store.
got to talk to Nico and enjoy, man. Get him off his ass and help you out. So
Yep, he was supposed to be on, and then
he's a busy guy.
He had to back out. But yeah, he just had a emergency. But I have the script saved, so he's going to be on at some point. So let's see.
I do see a question in the chat I want to address.
Okay.
Because this is a lot of confusion even within our own program. I'm hopefully going to fix this next year. But enjoy Hypnotiq. We're the same thing. It just I wanted to give Nico more more ownership of the team and also promote his brand. So we're like, all right, let's just make the D3 and also make it more attractive for players. Like we're Hypnotiq. We're still proving ourselves. We haven't played D3. Like the Enjoy name was hoping to bring in more people and really putting it out there that it's Nico helping us with it and running it with us. So that's yeah.
Yeah, I think that's a good distinction to make. If you do see them, you'll notice that it's all the same guys, pretty much. I don't know if there's anybody that's on Enjoy that's not in on one of the Hypnotiq lines as well.
There's a few, but they're in practice. We're all in the same chats. We're all the same team. We're all the same family.
Gotcha. All right. So thank you, Enzo, for your time. Do you have any last shout outs or things you'd like to say before we sign off?
Yeah, shout out to the dudes helping me run the program. Adam Dipple, Robert Naylor, Sunshine. Like those guys were talking all the time behind the scenes, trying to figure things out. And yeah, obviously, shout out to my wife for putting up with this nerd shit I do every weekend that takes away our weekends together. So, and then to all the players that bust their ass every weekend for the program.
All right. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Be sure to go follow Austin Hypnotiq at Hypnotiq_paintball on Instagram. What other guests would you like to see on the show? Be sure to leave a comment down below if you're watching this on YouTube. And while you're at it, hit that subscribe button. Show goes live weekly here on twitch.tv/inthepitspaintballpodcast. And recordings are posted to YouTube, Amazon, Apple Podcasts, and Spotify the next day. Hopefully, some of the microphone issues that we've had this episode will still be all right for the recordings. See you guys next week for episode 9. Also, special thank you to Enzo because Alex Martinez was originally supposed to be tonight and Enzo was supposed to be next week, but Alex needed to push back to next week, so Enzo was available to push forward on really short notice. So thank you for that, Enzo.
Hey, I got one more thing really quick before we sign off. Shout out to our sponsors, Carbon, Enjoy Paintball, Weapons, some of the best people to work with, Outlaw Paintball, always they're helping us out and getting us to keeping the field nice for us. So shout out to all them.
Yep. Shout out to all of Hypnotiq's sponsors. Shout out to my sponsors, FU Athletics, Paintball Kumite, who I forgot to mention last episode. So sorry, Colt. I made sure to fix it in all the social media posts. Shout out to Compete, Jill Stewart, and shout out to Carlos. Get that shot. So see you guys next week for episode 9 with Alex Martinez.